Are you a logical left brainer or a creative right brainer? Those of us who are logical thinkers, we tend to think more from an analytical and reasoning point of view and try to find, assess the root cause of any problem. And those of us who are creative thinkers, we try to incline more towards innovation, emotion, and chance. And then there are someone who try to think both logically and creatively, who try to assess a situation from their logical minds before, breaking those established patterns and finding out a totally new solution through their creative minds. But so often while juggling through our daily chores, through our offices, through our families, we forgot to strike a balance between the left brain and the right brain. That is what happened with me. I forgot that I had that creative side in me, and I was totally engrossed only into my logical mindset. I forgot that I love to dance, I love to write, I love to speak out. But then I think through the podcast, I'm finding myself out once again. So today we'll discuss this topic to find yourself once again and to how to strike a balance between the left brain and the right brain with Kakoli Das. Hi, Kakoli, how are you?
That was a phenomenal introduction. For a moment, I was like, "Oh, do I need to choose if I'm left brain or right brain?" Thankfully, not for me.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. And I was really looking forward to this conversation. And even when we were speaking earlier, I realized that we are actually speaking the same language. And at the crux of it, I think it's the same thing. The vocabulary may be different, but
yeah,
it's the same thing.
right.
Yes, lovely. Lovely to be talking to you about finding balance, living life at optimum, finding
Yeah.
our vitality. Yeah, let's begin.
Nice, nice. Okay, so a few lines of introduction about Kakoli. So Kakoli is a very creative entrepreneur. That is what her LinkedIn tagline says, She's very creative entrepreneur, but then she's also the co-founder of I Am Women Movement. And like I said, Kakuri did her bachelor's in technology, and then she ventured, found herself, and finally got into the Iron Women movement. So, Kakoli, would you like to tell about your journey from being a bachelor's in technology? How did you start into this, finding yourself out? How did you find yourself, and when did this entrepreneur journey begin?
Hmm. Okay. That's like going back in history, but I was born and raised in lower middle class, a small town family, and I think back in those days, if you were relatively good in studies, there were two options that you had. You either have to become a doctor or an engineer. I'd always been a rebel in my life, and everybody else in in my family, extended family, they were doctors. So, because I wanted the shortest path to freedom, I thought engineering is a good choice because it's 4 years compared to all the number of
Right.
years in medicine. Then I pretty much had a regular career. I joined the very predictable, right? One of the software services company.
Right.
Um, in, However, in 2009, 2008, 9, I did start my own organization first time. I was first time entrepreneur back then. I
Okay.
started an organization called the Red River, which was about it was a company on the model of 3P, People, Planet, Profit. I wanted
Okay.
to
Okay.
um, it was essentially a craft based business, which was aimed at increasing income for home based weavers, women weavers back in the
Okay.
Northeast.
Okay. Okay.
That first stint in entrepreneurship was very glamorous. I was on like the front cover of Vogue
Wow.
and
Wow.
Femina papers and all of that, but it was an exhausting journey internally. I had a very difficult time because I had made a lot of wrong decisions. So I quit that business in 2011 when I became a mother first time. Then I took a break for 6 years while raising my kids. They are three, and
Okay.
I have them one after another, three under
Right.
three, like you,
Right.
two under three under three. Um, then I went back to a corporate job because I had to figure out a way to pay my bills. But
Mm.
then that urge in me to find myself was too strong to not notice. I was
Right.
restless everywhere else. Um, I finally accepted and acknowledged that that's what I want to do. Um, so I quit my full-time job in when everybody was called back to the office after
Right.
COVID.
Right.
I left it back then, and I knew that I wanted to do something with human behavior. I wanted to do something with women. I wanted to do something with finding self, finding creativity. So at that point in time, I didn't know how to connect the dots. But after, I think about 2.5, 3 years, I figured out a way to connect all the dots and then started I Am Woman movement with my co-founder, Naomi George. Yeah.
Nice. That's
I
really
thought,
wonderful journey. Yeah,
did I
that's a
answer all
wonderful
your
journey.
questions?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Yes.
Okay. So I'm women. So may I know more about I am women? What is I
Hmm.
am women all about? And a
So,
very, very beautiful title, It's like owning ourselves.
yes, owning ourselves. This name actually, I will have to attribute it to my co-founder, Naomi.
Okay.
She
Okay.
always dreamt about it. So, what does it mean really that I am woman. I am my version of woman. There is no prescribed should way. I don't need to be palatable. I don't need to be likable. I mean, I say those words because for so many years we have been told how to be, but then uh, there are so many shoulds in our lives. So
Right.
many shoulds. We forget who we are in
Right.
all those.
Exactly.
So, and so many of what those shoulds that we have been told do not serve us in today's world, right? They
Right.
may have served women
Right.
some generations
Right.
back. They do
Right.
not serve us today. So, both Naomi and I have had similar life journeys, and then we both were pondering over this question: if this is a struggle for us to navigate in the present world as women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure be also a challenge for many others. So
Right. Right.
why don't we explore a new language to be a woman in today's world? And
Okay.
yeah, and this work we thought we will do at the intersection of ancient wisdom, spirituality, plus neuroscience, science,
Okay.
uh, and female biology, based rooted in female biology,
Okay.
acknowledging we are human beings in in a certain biology, acknowledging that, and then
Okay.
starting our journey, exploring our lives from that reality.
Okay. So, and are the women coming out? Because, this is a very nice initiative, but often,
Hmm.
Indian women especially, they are hesitating about all those stigmas and taboos and, that you should be doing this, you should be doing ABC, and they are all bound in a shell. So, are the women coming out and trying to explore themselves, trying to find out, who they actually are?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Um, and to be fair, I think the curiosity is more than actually signing up to do the work, than actually
Okay.
committing to the work. There
Okay.
is curiosity, right? There is like, okay, I want to be free. I want to be
Right.
uh, expansive, like this one or like that
Right.
one. But
Right.
to actually commit to do the work, I think that requires some kind of readiness.
Right.
Uh, it is okay. It cannot be rushed. That time it comes to us. It came to you when you were ready.
Right.
It came
Right.
to me when I was ready. So it'll
Nice.
come
Yeah.
to everyone when everyone's ready. Having said that, we've done um, wisdom circles, moon circles, and listening circles. we've been doing them quite regularly.
May I
Even
know
before.
more about these circles? These are
Well,
sounding very interesting.
so these are basically women's circles that we
Okay,
organize.
okay,
So, I mean, have you noticed that when you are in presence of another woman, another aware, conscious woman, there is this feeling of being nurtured and joy? Have you experienced
right,
that?
right,
So
right,
imagine that with like many folds, many women sitting together, right? Coming together
right, right.
to just read poetry, maybe, or just do some artwork together, or
Wow,
just talk about, okay, I am feeling very sad today. I just want someone to listen
talk.
to me with
Yeah,
judgment. It
right.
began like that. It began like
Okay,
that. So this we did even before we started formally.
okay,
Um, we've been doing these women's circles for quite some time. Some in different formats. Sometimes we would do in new moon, full moon circles. They were all reasons for us to come together,
okay,
really.
okay, okay.
Um, and then we would also do these circles to journal together,
Wow,
eat together. So we did find it all begins with friends and family, and then I think others listen, then they come in.
nice,
It started
nice.
like
So, you work, like you said, you became a mom of three and a three, and all the three were boys, right?
hmm.
So, being a mom of all three boys, we'll come to the topic of how to handle three and a three. Like I'm struggling to handle two and a two on that later. But for now, being a mom of three boys, you chose to work on something related to women. May I know why? Why did you choose women?
Hmm. I think because I am a woman, I primarily, and somewhere I realized that if I wanted to be fully present as a mother to them, which I wanted to be fully present as a mother to them.
Right,
I realized that I have to meet all my needs. I have to come from that space of wholeness. Um, and that I can only do if I can acknowledge who I am, if I can, I think I told you, like for in our
right,
house,
right,
periods is a
right.
common, everyone
Right,
knows.
right.
Everyone knows when I am expecting my cycle. My boys know, and it's an open vocabulary. I told them I'm about to have my periods, so I need my downtime. I need me time, and they're also very sweet. They come and serve me breakfast in bed. They
Mhm.
also know that I've obviously talked to them that I can get triggered during this time, so please leave me alone for these 2, 3 days. I need some rest so that I can be fully present to you afterwards.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it came from the okay primary motivation. I would say primary motivation.
Mhm.
I It might seem narrow focus, but I definitely wanted to show up as consciously as a mother to my children. And that I knew I could only do when I meet all my needs,
Right,
physically,
right, right,
emotionally,
right.
intellectually, spiritually. I think it comes
Nice.
from faith.
Exactly. That's true. Because unless we, the moms, we are in a stable mindset, we are, we can be physically present but mentally absent. That should not be the
Absolutely.
case.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And children know about it, no? They're so intuitive.
Right.
They know when you are there and they know when you're not there. Like
Exactly.
I may be speaking like this. I'm not saying that I'm 100% present with them all the time. This I'm
Hmm.
work in progress. I am learning. I know that I switch off quite often and I didn't want to. I wanted to enjoy this mother. I wanted to joyfully mother them. Uh,
Right. Right.
yes, have a
Right.
joyous child, have a joyous family. So that I knew if I had all these things that I'm feeling bitter about, I would never be able to create that. So that's
Right.
why women.
Nice. Nice.
When I realized, oh my God, there are so many things about me that I do not know. let me find out.
Nice. And spreading out this word through the I Am Women movement, that is really wonderful. Because, so often, how we think and how our male counterpart think is a bit different, obviously. While we work in a corporate or anywhere else, the mindset is there.
Hmm.
And for example, I remember a situation when, I just started crying in front of my
Yeah.
supervisor because of a certain thing that was happening in my life, and I was very upset about it. And the tears started rolling out, and I was considered vulnerable. That, I'm so vulnerable, and how, with my vulnerability, that, a woman can cry. Would she be able to handle good responsibilities? So these are certain things that, a woman has, but I think men sometimes do not understand. Maybe
Yeah,
some, but not everyone, right?
yeah. And also I think that is the burden of patriarchy on them as well, right? That men are supposed to be a certain way. I wonder how are wanting to cry because they are in some pain, but they cannot
They are
because
told not to cry.
they told not to. And interestingly, that's also why I started working on women to be able to understand my three boys better, to be able to raise them as men who are also free and not in societal molds, who are also free.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the reason.
Okay. So, like we discussed earlier also, it's all about energy, right? The masculine energy and the feminine energy. And even whether it is a female or a male, everyone possess both the energies, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yes.
is what is, yeah,
Yes, and it took me quite some time to understand this, okay? So, and if I can indulge a little bit, I can explain it the way I understood
right,
it. Do I have
right. Yeah, 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 of course.
time? Okay, so you know how our spirit scriptures say Ardhanarishwar, like there
Right.
is the man and half woman, and then all the literature that you read, it says that everyone has both feminine and masculine energy, and then left brain, right brain, yin, yang, Shiva, Shakti. All of that is about, says that everything is within us. Then I have this question: if everything is within us, why women should invoke feminine energy in them, right? Why cannot it be open to men? These were questions that I was like not be able to find answers. This is how I made sense of it, and I just wanted to articulate. Yes, everyone has access to both masculine and feminine side in them, and one can live life at optimum when both sides are balanced. Logic and creativity is
Mm,
balanced, action and being are balanced, all of that. However, because women have this additional biology, which is cyclical in nature, nature has equipped women with that extra um, something additional, which facilitates, which allows them, or it's easier for them to stay grounded in that cycle, easier for them
okay.
to stay grounded in
Okay.
that balance if they're
Okay.
aware
Okay.
of it, right?
Okay.
That is
Okay.
one. And that's why, as women, we are the vessels of that feminine energy, but everyone has it. The second thing that I wanted to say is the world today, the way it is, it fosters and encourages masculine energy. Like everyone, like
So
in the sense that
maybe
it
to try to understand more, masculine energy means logical thinking.
action,
Okay.
action,
Okay.
timelines, passion, ambition, all of that, right? It's all about it's all about the external world. It's and feminine is about the internal world,
Okay.
creativity,
Okay.
um, intuition, inspiration. It's about the inner world. It's the whole right left brain
Right.
only.
Right. Right. Right.
So and the world outside today, you mother your two daughters. but you also work. You are required to work. You did take a few months of maternity break, and that's it. You were
Right.
required back. And even if some women have supportive
Mm-hmm.
partners, and they may choose to stay at home, the social narrative is that you have an identity only when you work and work outside, right? Not at
Exactly. Exactly.
work outside home, because whatever you do inside is unpaid job, and whatever
Right.
you do outside is paid job, and there is that hierarchy of work itself. So the world really requires us to be masculine, and honestly, I think we also mother from a masculine energy, because it's all about, oh, you have to go to school at this time, you have to take this for tiffin. It's all about action. Where
Yeah.
is the time you really do nothing? It's
Right.
not that,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it might become, it is very easy to get lost in the masculine energy. And then what happens is burnout. What happens is a sense of depletion, a sense of alienation from who
Right.
am I really, stress, all of that happens. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why we need to really consciously cultivate our feminine energy, men and women, all alike, but more so women, because the impacts on our biology is a lot. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
62%, women have more autoimmune disease than men,
Okay.
because we
Oh,
feel a lot of stress in our bodies. So
okay.
things
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
So what other
Okay.
reasons? Did I
Okay.
ramble a lot?
Yeah, yeah,
Was it
I
a good?
understand. So, see, what I understand from you is that each one of us has that masculine energy that, we have to do the actions and within
Yes.
those timelines. And each of us has this feminine energy that, that looks upon ourselves, what we are, and
I,
to
yeah.
release that stress. And if we just focus on one, that will lead to burnout. And I personally
Hmm.
have experienced that, it leads to burnout. And that is
Yeah.
when we actually try to see inside, in terms of spirituality, we start doing meditation or we start doing
Yeah.
prayers, and we try to find the inner me to strike that balance. So
Yes.
it is very
Absolutely.
important. Yes. So that is what
That's
I'm able to
all.
summarize.
That's all actually on beautifully said.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for both women and men, it is equally important to balance both the things. However, because women are biologically made a bit different, they have to
Yeah.
balance it more. Otherwise, they would suffer from hormonal disorders, which will impact their
Yes.
everyday
Yeah.
lives. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Absolutely. Like,
Right.
bingo, you said it really well.
Okay, okay. So now, you also said that you are working as a consultant for, behavioral change consultant. So,
Hmm.
what is that all about?
So, so I work with different organizations, as a consultant who work on any behavior change programs for organizations,
Okay,
like conscious leadership, inclusion, then psychological safety, radical
okay,
Canva, things like
okay,
that, wave organizations, right?
right,
I so I what I do as a consultant is I conduct extensive research with the organizations that I'm designing programs
mm-hmm,
for.
mm-hmm,
Then I understand where the organization is on the journey. Sometimes it's a specific topics. Sometimes after meeting the employees, I realize that what we thought is the problem is, we assume the problem is X, but actually the problem is Y. So how do we then design a learning session, a workshop, so that so that we can work address wise. So yeah,
nice.
that's
Yeah,
what I do.
because changing, if you're trying to implement this in corporates, that's really wonderful. The psychological safety part, or how to think radically, how to maintain the balance in a corporate. And then you, like you said, that you talk to the employees to understand where they are, to
Yeah.
understand as a corporate on what path the journey, on what step of the journey they are on right now, and work towards that. That's really wonderful. That's a
Hmm.
wonderful job. Apart from that, so like I said, you are, an all multi-dimensional person. So I'm women.
Personality.
Yeah. So another dimension to your personality is a creative hour on LinkedIn. I listened to one of those and it's beautiful. So, may I know more about the creative hour on LinkedIn and why you started that?
So, so for me, uh, sorry. So for me, the creative path has been my spiritual journey as well.
Okay.
So what I mean to say is I don't know if you notice, I do visual journaling.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
beautiful.
for me, that has been, thank you. For me, that has been the most powerful tool of finding myself, of
Okay.
really finding out where am I living in an autopilot mode and what do I really want? What's my deepest desire?
Right.
So, and that I have, it's through visual journaling that I have
Mm-hmm.
been able to figure those aspects of me. Um, and then what I have, that is one. And the other thing is, I you may have also experienced it. When I am in my flow state, I do work very effectively. Like I
Right.
would
Right.
complete large chunks of work in 30 minutes because I'm able to do deep work and I'm able to focus completely, immerse myself in that piece of
Right.
work.
Right.
One of the needs of motherhood, which you will agree, is that we have limited time, right?
Mm.
There are so many other things to do, but our ambitions are also very high. So there is this constant struggle. And this is a tool that I found out that if I start my day, or even before starting a piece of work, if I do something creative, then I am in my flow state, then my mental chatter is no longer there and I can completely focus on that particular task. Okay. And I am just immersed in that piece of work until till the time that piece of work is completed, nothing else comes into my mind. I thought this is a brilliant tool to have. So that's when I
Yeah.
realized exploring some form of creativity is actually a tool in our own toolbox, right? To
Mm-hmm.
access our own potential. So
That's
that
beautiful. So you're
that's
helping everyone out there on LinkedIn to, come out and at least be
well,
creative for an hour.
like at least creating awareness, right? Creating awareness. I do this with another very creative person called Binati Shades. She's like one creative encyclopedia. Okay, she is everything she does is creative. So I have various things. We just want to demystify what creative path is. It is not
Mm-hmm.
something big.
Right.
Like for
Right.
example, this Thursday we are talking about bite-sized creativity. So we're talking about things like we don't have to attempt big things. We can probably just do like a 2 inch by 2 inch artwork every single day,
Right. Right.
something like that. So
Right.
yeah,
That's
that's something.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can totally resonate, that when we do something creative, for example, if I start journaling or write something or do like people who are into dancing, do this dance, people who like music, just
Yes.
spend some time with music. And
Hmm.
after that, when they start their work, they will be completely in that flow that will be able to
So
complete everything. Yeah. And those mental blocks that are created somehow, they go away when we
yeah.
indulge into these things, because I've also seen those mental blocks that block me from doing something, but then involving into such activities release those mental blocks, right? That's wonderful. Okay, so talking about another side of you, that is the stand-ups and the poetry.
Yes. Um, um, so I love being in front of the camera. Okay. I love performing. I love entertaining people. So when I speak, when I see you smile, for example, I know that the words that I have chosen have created some
Right.
impact in you. These things inspire me in the sense that I get, I something happens to me when I'm on stage. And also love words. I love words. Uh, if you were to ask me if all your needs were taken care of, what would you do with your time? I would arrange flowers. See, I would arrange flowers and I would write. That's all I would
Nice.
do. Um,
Nice.
so then I thought that, yeah, so I started performing whatever I write. Then my words are very simple actually. So I started performing. Then I realized that there is some relatability. People relate
Mm,
to it.
right. Right.
Maybe whatever I write is from my experience um, as a mother, trying to
Okay.
find the joyous woman in me. So
Wow.
it's all that.
Wow.
So
That's wonderful, Writing is one thing, but then,
you write, you
yeah.
write, you write so beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, like you said that when we talked earlier as well, we thought that both of us are a bit alike. So I
Yeah.
also love the stage, but then, I don't know whether I would be able to make my words and stand up on a stage and speak about that. I've never thought of that till now, but maybe I can, inspired by you.
You can try if that works for you. And if it doesn't also, it's fine, right?
Yes, of course, of course.
Also have one medium. I just love being a performer. So
Right, right.
uh, yes, and I would love to be part of the audience when you do that, when you try it. You do let me know.
Wow, thank you. So do you have a YouTube channel where all I can see all these performances or
Um,
any place?
I do not have I probably have some clippings which I can share with you. I have some
Right,
clip.
right. I think
I
share
will.
it with everyone. Share it on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. People would be really
Now I remember. Now I remember. You know how I started writing on LinkedIn? I wasn't writing regularly on LinkedIn at all. Then somebody gave me this challenge. Why don't you recite a poem on LinkedIn? I'm like, what? then,
Okay.
then I there's this poem called The Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. So
Mm-hmm.
I cited that,
Wow.
and because I was nudged by one of my mentors to uh, share it on LinkedIn, I did.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's called Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. It's not my own, but
Wow.
yes,
May I
I
ask you
decided.
to speak a few lines right now for everyone who's listening? Any poem, not specifically that poem, any poem which you love and which you
I,
remember right now.
no, I will just look up the words because phenomenal words is beautiful. I wish you had told me before. I would have been prepared.
I really got into the flow, and when you said about
That's good.
this,
That's good. Just a second. Okay, I'll say the first few lines. Okay.
yeah,
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I am telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms. It's in the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. It's a few more lines.
well,
I walk into a room just as cool as you please. And to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say it's in the fire of my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me.
that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And all these lines actually resonate with you. The fire in your eyes, the beauty on your face,
Kind
everything.
of you. We're all phenomenal women. Look at your laughter.
Thank
Phenomenal.
you. That is really phenomenal. Okay, so coming to the topic, the last topic of the day, three and a three. You had three boys and a three. How difficult was or easy it was to handle three and a three?
Yes. If you, and I had told this to you before, if you pay me $1 million and ask me to repeat it again, I don't think I can do it. Because, not because I don't want to, because I think I no longer have the skills that I had at that point in time. Um, I always knew that I wanted multiple children, and and that's why, and I also wanted to raise them very consciously.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's why I sort of had them back to back because
Mhm.
I was so diligent about the parenting journey, taking notes, doing this, doing that. I pretty much knew that if there was a gap between my kids, I'd never have another child because it's exhausting as a process, I think.
Right, right,
However, today my kids are 13, 12, and 10. Um, they're these wonderful boys. They cook, um, they cook almost every weekend, and when I'm
right,
not well, they're very independent, very nurturing, loving. So all the hard work that I think went in has started paying off now. Not that it needs to pay off, but then generally seeing the joy I'm seeing now.
right.
Having said that, those early years were very difficult. I didn't have time for 6 years. And when that was another kind of struggle, no identity at that point in time,
Right,
right? Because
right, right,
there is no time for anything else. You are just cleaning diapers, changing diapers, and feeding them, and that's it,
right,
right?
right,
So that's another kind of struggle as well for people like you and me.
right, exactly.
In that, those initial few years were exhausting because I think people like you and me, we seek so much from life, our own sense of self, right? Our expression of self. And the initial few years of motherhood doesn't necessarily allow you that because it is
Right.
an process of disintegrating the old Kakoli, the old Swati, right? It's like everything crumbles. There's this endless
So
loop of changing diapers and tending to them. Um, there is so much to be done physically, so there is hardly any time for anything else. And I think it was the same thing for me as well. Um,
true.
Hindsight, I'm thankful for that phase, and I'll tell you why. Um, I think, like, because I didn't have time to be somewhere else in my mind, I was had to be in the here and now. A lot of my old self
Mm-hmm.
ceased to be.
Right, right.
Then, when I restarted my own journey, my own work, my own self worth, then I pretty much had not really a blank slate. We can't have a blank slate at this point in
Mm-hmm.
time. But I had this opportunity to put things back one by
Right,
one.
right.
Yes, do I not want this? I think in that sense, that's how the journey has been. It was exhausting. It was very challenging. I will not paint it in rosy words. It was it was not easy, but worth it. Yeah.
And that is so true, these initial years, these are so difficult. And somehow, like you said, we tend to lose our identity at who we are
Yeah.
because we are juggling in daily course, the changing diapers and feeding and everything for our children. And we disintegrate, like you said, the old version of ours and we create
Yes.
some new version, right on a slate that already has something, but still a lot more new things are written. So the previous version and new version are completely different. And yes, the career breaks are difficult, but then I think it helps us to refine ourselves. And just like you know, when you, because people for like you and me, we want to have our own identities as well, apart from being moms. So that is when we venture out and actually explore new things and find out our true callings.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to add, it took me some time. In the initial few years, I think there was just mother, and that's it. I am the mother is me. Okay.
Right, right.
But I think after they were a little older, and for me, I think it happened when my oldest turned 6, 7. My youngest was about 3, 3.5. What I started understanding, not really understanding, but seeing, understanding happened a little later. Hold on, that was just a role that I was supposed to play. That's not me. So
Right, right. I
that
can
began.
resonate. Yeah, I can.
Yes.
So,
And those,
like you said, your little one was 3, so I have one more year till my little one turns 3, and I'll be able to truly explore myself. Because, like you
yes.
said, I'm still in that mama zone only.
Yeah, like it's like I don't know, somebody once told me there's this bookstore in Bangalore we often go to called Lightroom, and it's has always been the three of us, three of them and me, like four together, going together everywhere, right? Yeah, I happened to go there alone. And she just was not the bookshop owner.
Right,
She was just
right.
not able to fathom that. How are you
So you
alone?
tell them that I am women, you know, I am
I am
finding
open.
out.
I'm finding myself. Uh,
That's
and
wonderful.
and hopefully inspiring everyone. Not that anyone needs inspiration, but I think sometimes we need that little nudge, right? That, okay, there are so many other things. Life can be so expansive. We can be so many things only when we start looking at ourselves with a little bit of curiosity and compassion. I guess that's the whole
Wow.
objective.
Yeah, looking at ourselves with curiosity and compassion. Because we often look at the world with curiosity, but we forget to look at ourselves.
Yes.
So that's a
Yes.
powerful line. So I think that is a key takeaway, right? The few, or you want to add any few lines to end the
No,
podcast?
I think those are a sense of me, my journey as well, right? Being curious about who I am, and and choosing compassion when I discover who I am, right?
Wow.
There can be so many things that may not be pleasant as well about me, but choosing compassion to those aspects of me, yeah,
And fully accepting yourself.
it's absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's so wonderful. And it was so beautiful talking to you. Like I said, you're so vibrant, and you know, the light behind you is also so vibrant. Your face is so vibrant. You're looking so beautiful. And you have that energy, that positive energy that attracts everyone and that attracts me towards you. And that is why a big smile on my face talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to add that at any given point in time, we all are mirroring each other. So, all those words you said about me, I'm reflecting them back to you.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you
agreeing to be my guest. It was my pleasure talking to you.
for talking to you. Bye bye. Take
Bye
care.
bye. Take care. Bye bye.